What does Star Wars, Norse paganism, Newtsies all have in common? That's where I'm at with it currently. No hate to my friend, but recently the question was posed. If all are welcome into Norse paganism, so should Newtsies. So should supremacists. I'm not going to tag him. I don't want to get him in any hot water. And actually thank you for the thought experiment. I often find wisdom comes from these things. Our response to everything shouldn't be blah, 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 blah. I often find taking a step back and reflecting on things helps. Take a deep breath and let's get into it. I went down a rabbit hole trying to define and understand what the Norse quantified as blasphemy, heresy, charlatanry. The only thing I found was a story about pooping on Thor's Island. There was a sort of temple there. Folks were told where the pooping spot was, and they just pooped everywhere. Because of this disrespect, they had a battle. People died. Shit happened. That barely touched with what's going on between Norse paganism and supremacy groups. But then I looked at the terms I was trying to quantify. All Christian terms. Thought to myself, why was I using those terms? Was this a type of Christian colonization that a recent creator on TikTok insinuated? In love? No, we're not indigenous. Don't be ridiculous. However, we do have people that are indigenous in this faith. Heck, we have ethno-religions in this state, such as Judaism. We are a wandering tribe of warring peoples just trying to get by in the world, absorbing things wherever we go, learning, evolving, absorbing those that want to be part of this thing. Did we ever stop migrating? Have we ever stopped absorbing? What the Newtsies want is a snapshot in time that we have moving far beyond. They too have added to it, stuff of their own invention. They were referred to recently as a tribe. I don't deny this. One could view it that way. But one that's turning back on the collective. I almost view it as a civil war. Almost. Where I landed with that, how many different denominations of Christianity are there? That's where I'm at with it. But then I remembered a quote. I'm going to read it aloud and I want you to roll it around in your noodle for a little bit and think about who said it. And now my people are living in exile because they will not abandon their heritage. Our people were warriors, strong and feared. Take a minute with that. I'll wait. Tar Vizsla, House Vizsla, of the Death Watch. That was the Star Wars part. And it provided me with a frame of reference on how to view this, because they were all Mandalorians, and look how it played out. Hear me out, think about it for a second. We have many kith, kindred, tribes, clans, and chuckle fucks like me that walk alone. But I have many allies in other clans. We have different takes on things, but we all kinda find the way. And the Newtsies are a lot like the Death Watch, concerned about heritage and pedigree. One person's viewpoint on what tradition is, trying to overtake the collective and put them under their thumb. The collective has many variations. Let's look to the names of Odin, for example. He has many names after all. And yet, we all know who we're talking about. A historical representation of how we all read and practice differently. And yet, we all know it's the way. Were you aware that in World War II, Himmler invented a different name for Odin? Wotan. It's from Wagner's operas, and why a supremacy group literally has a news-type channel called the Wotan Network, trying to take ground from all of us, and we give it to them. In the United States, supremacy groups are allowed to fly their made-up symbols, like the Badothala rune, the Sieg runes, not our runes. Side note, this brings us harm, all of us. The number 2 question I am asked when people see my hammer is, am I one of them? How many of you get that? Now think about those who are not part of this conversation here on this app that were affected by that, harmed by that. Is that not disrespect? Were you aware of the life runes being used by accelerationist groups? That reflects on you. Disrespects the gods. Bringing harm to the collective. In warfare, gained ground is still gained ground. And since World War II, they've been gaining inches every year. Doesn't seem like much, but when you look back at how much ground they've taken, well, it's a lot. I only speak for myself. I can only affect what one person can affect, but I'm not going to give them one more inch, and I'm not going to let them harm any of you if I can help it. They're going to keep taking, till they take you, till they take your friend, till it's not what the way is. They don't want the way, they want their way, the Austrian painter's way. And after they get their way, they're gonna keep making shit up, disrespecting the gods and shitting all over the island. Laws are supposed to prevent stuff from happening. They're in our government, run a defense. We can take pride in the resurgence of this faith and our numbers, but we just don't have that. We don't have think tanks, politicians, but we gotta dig our heels in and put our shields up and brace for impact. We gotta stop the next inch of taken ground, all the ones after that. Because if we don't, well, a lot of us are gonna get hurt. Yes, I said all are welcome except Newtsies, because I don't want them to hurt you. I don't want them to overgrow and overtake us like some kind of evil kudzu. You know, in World War II Germany, they tried to take Germany by force during the Beer Hall Putsch. That didn't work out for them. So then they tried diplomacy and governing, electoral. Look how that worked out. I don't care how much face paint you put on, how many furs you own, what your beard oil is, who you pray to, because you won't have any of that if you're wearing an SS uniform. Unrecognizable from the many different ways we all practice, just like the Death Watch. Feel free to let them in. See how that works out for your tribe or kindred, your clan of Mandalorians. It's just an opportunity for them to take another inch, hurt some folks, or take over your political party. I respect folks despite their politics based on how they act. Realize I'm going to keep fighting. That's what we do here. Counterintelligence, education. Bring joy to those that are having bad days, softening the sharp edges on a scary thing that ultimately ends up in helping charities. A comedic redirect, if you will, because that's what works on this app. That's how I've built my shield wall. So you, who've made it this far, can identify who your enemy is. I have a playlist if you're unfamiliar with something or need to reference. That's the shield I give to you. Your armor. And if you don't put it on now, they're going to take another inch. When Himmler invented things such as the Black Sun and put a bunch of stuff together, it's disrespect to the gods, disrespect to the way. And on that island, they went to war over it. And if we do not do the same, within the limits of the law, well, this island we're all on is going to be covered in shit. This is the way. At the end of this experiment, I realized only one thing. Shit is happening. Ah-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha.